Hey everyone, Callie here again, and today I actually want to do something a little bit different with this video. There's actually three new Pokemon V Boxes that come out today. You've got your Mew V Box, your Kyurem V Box, and your Hisuian Electrode V Box. And all I can think about when looking at these products is why? Why do these products even exist? Who are they for? And are they worth buying? So let's talk about V boxes. All right, so what are V boxes? Well, you got ones like this Hisuian Electrode V that gives you 4 packs each, a copy of the V that the box is named for, a jumbo version of that V card, and a random bulk holo. Sometimes the V is a promo, like with the Hisuian Electrode V, though more on that in a bit. But many are just standard Vs from whatever set. From a pure value perspective, these aren't the worst. Most packs of standard are about $4 or so that means you're spending $20 getting about $16 worth of packs. So, you could buy 5 packs instead, or you could get this with 4 packs plus a guaranteed V with a jumbo card and a bulk holo. If you're on a budget and all you want to do is open a couple packs, these aren't, again, the worst thing that you can buy. It's fine for that. Works all right. But outside of that, I don't really see why you would want these. The majority of people that buy Pokemon cards are either collectors, investors, players, or some combination of those three. If you're investors, these are rarely a good product. Ones like the Kyurem V Box just include a few standard packs and a regular V, which don't really carry much value currently and are unlikely to carry much value over time. And the promo ones aren't much better. They're rarely a very highly playable card, and typically aren't the most popular, i.e., collectible Pokemon. The Virizion V, for example, not only not a very good card, but it's not a very popular Pokemon. The box only came out a few weeks ago and has already dropped below $13 market price. I really doubt in 5 or 10 years that there are going to be very many people that are willing to pay a lot of money for one of these things. And then you got the Hisuian Electrode V, which is probably a little bit more popular for a Pokemon, but if you look at the market price of this thing, it just came out and it's already dropped below the $20 MSRP. So if you're an investor, I don't see why you would want this thing. Now, if you're a collector, there's at least somewhat of a reason to pick this up if you really care about promos. Again, at least the promo versions of these V boxes. It's the reason that I bought the Virizion V and the Hisuian Electrode V boxes. I like to get the promos. Well, that and I can kind of open them for the channel, but if I really wasn't opening them here, yeah, I'd probably just buy these as singles for like a couple of bucks. And when it comes to the regular V boxes, you'd have to be a pretty super hardcore collector that literally wants every single Pokemon TCG product to even give a glance to the regular V boxes. And then you've got the players who these aren't really worth it very much for them either. You don't get a lot of packs of them, so you're unlikely to get really much to help you with your collection, to help you build decks. And it's always cheaper to just buy singles than it is to buy packs, or even like something like this where you might want a couple copies. Just go buy a couple Mew Vs or a couple Kyurems, or pick up these promos of this Hisuian Electrode V for super cheap. Even if you're a very casual player, I don't really see why you would want it still. One copy of a V isn't really worth it in your deck. So you're probably going to be buying multiples of these if that's what you're trying to do. And if you're going for something like the Mew V or the Kyurem V, and those are not great cards on their own. You really are just using them to evolve into the VMAXs, which you still don't have if you buy these. It's kind of a lot to ask a casual player to expect that they're going to pick a bunch of these boxes up when it's still not even really helping them build an actual deck with them. Now, as someone that really does a lot of playing, does a lot of collecting, I can just kind of shrug off the regular V boxes that don't contain promos, but there is something about the ones that do contain promos that can be kind of a little annoying. And it's the fact that these aren't actually real promos. So if you don't know, Japan does their sets a little bit differently from how they're released everywhere else. The Japanese sets are typically a little bit smaller. They've got different names. The cards come out sooner than they do anywhere else. Lost Origin, for example, is made up of cards mostly from the sets Dark Phantasm and Lost Abyss that came out in Japan in July and May. And this Hisuian Electrode V that was released today in this V Box as a promo is really just a regular V from the Dark Phantasm set in Japan. So it's not a promo over there, it's not a secret rare, it's not an alternate art, it's just a regular V that was removed from the set and then released outside of Japan so they could stick it in a box and call it a promo. The promo of the Virizion V is the same thing. It's just a regular V card from a different Japanese set called Battle Region. So is this really a big deal? I mean, not really. The cards that they do this with are not typically super meta relevant, and there are other versions that are available if you really do want to play with these before these boxes come out. Though I will say those other versions are ultra rare full art cards, so you don't really have a very high chance of pulling one of those even if you open up several booster boxes, much less 4 of them if you want a full playset. And as a player, that can be kind of frustrating. The Hisuian Electrode V, as an example, is something that you can build a pretty fun off-meta deck around. Deck where you build up a bunch of status conditions on the Electrode, and then you do a bunch of damage for no energy. It's something I had been interested in building when Lost Origin came out, but again, that rare full art was the only one that was available. And since it was fairly rare, that meant the singles are a little bit more expensive. Not super expensive, we're talking like $9 or $10, but that's still pretty expensive for, just a kind of a fun meme deck that you're wanting to build. And that ultra rare status also meant that there really weren't that many singles available, so the locals at my local game store didn't really have any to trade. The shops didn't have too many that they could kind of sell early on, so again, if I wanted it, I kind of had to wait. Again, not a huge deal or anything, but it's kind of like, why? Why just gatekeep like a fun little meta deck for no reason? I mean, and I get it. The Pokemon company, it's a business. It wants to make money. And I can see why you would want to take some Vs out of your set and then reprint them outside of Japan as promos. They get to put out a product with an exclusive promo that can help drive sales, and you don't even have to commission new art to do it. But if that is the thinking, the cards they're picking aren't really doing them any favors. I mean, the Hisuian Electrode V deck is not some powerhouse deck. It's a mid-tier, at best, meme deck. I doubt there's many people that rushed out to buy more Lost Origin just so they could hope to get a playset of these things from the full art version. Just like I doubt there's a ton of people waiting with great anticipation for this V Box to come out, so again, they can pick it up and finally build this deck. So if the strategy is really to increase sales by selling us these promos, why not do it with cards that are designed to be more meta relevant? Or ones that are at least more popular Pokemon so they could attract more collectors? And don't get me wrong, I don't want them to do that. When it's a card like the Hisuian Electrode V, it's really just part of a meme deck, it's just kind of annoying. You either wait till it comes out, or you pay a little bit more than you would for a typical meme deck buying singles of the full art. It'd be 100 times worse if they did this with actual competitive cards. But it probably would make the Pokemon company a lot more money because people would probably actually buy these things. I always like to check the trading cards section, anytime I go to a place like Target, and whenever these things come out, boxes like these V boxes just seem to sit there lining the shelves. Even when the rest of the Pokemon product is sold out, these things are just sitting there. The only group I kind of really see buying these are kids that don't have a lot of money and don't know there's better products out there, or people that are buying Pokemon cards as gifts. They don't know anything about Pokemon themselves, but they've got, a kid or a friend or a sibling or whatever that likes to collect Pokemon, and they want to buy them a gift. So maybe they see this box and they pick it up for them. But even that market doesn't seem super large considering how often these things just sit there unsold. No matter how I look at them, these things are just kind of confusing. The promo versions of these V boxes, they at least make sense in concept, but the cards inside really aren't valuable enough to actually get people buying. And then the regular Vs like the Mew and the Kyurem make even less sense. There's nothing about V that seems appealing to anyone. Except maybe the Pokemon company, since stores seem to be buying inventory to stock them for some reason. Which, I guess really is the reason for these. They are a way for the Pokemon company to make some extra revenue without having to do much work. Still doesn't change that they're really not very good products. So I'd say don't buy them, but you're probably not already. And I think that's the thing that gets me, is that these don't have to be bad. Heck, you could just make 2 copies of the V in here instead of the V in a bulk holo. It still wouldn't be great, but at least it'd be closer to having all the copies you need of a V to make a deck. I actually think the recent Palkia V-Star box is a good example of a similar product that's maybe a decent model for building better V boxes. In that Palkia box, you get a complete 1/1 line of both the V and the V-Star. That box also has a promo Palkia V, which is really just a full art card of a card that was in a Japanese set that was, again, just taken out so they could sell it to us as a promo. And then it also has a different art version of the V-Star. So I will say, to their credit, the V-Star, as far as I can tell, I think actually is its own card. I couldn't find a Japanese set that this one was from, so I think that one actually is a unique card. And there's 2 good things about this. One, the promo Palkia V being a full art meant that the regular V was still a pretty common thing in Astral Radiance packs that you were opening, which helped keep the cost of building the deck down a little bit because the V was easier to come by. And if you take out the pin that you get, the V-Star marker you get, drop the packs down from 6 to 4, the cost of turning that V-Star box into one of these V boxes would pretty much be the same. But again, instead of giving you that bulk holo, like rare, give the V-Star instead. And I'll say, unlike the V boxes, stuff like the Palkia V-Star actually seem to sell. I know my local Target, whenever I go there, never seems to have more than 1 or 2, even a day or 2 after restocking. And there's also a nice side benefit for boxes like the Palkia V-Star box. Easier access to a guaranteed copy of both the V and the V-Star has actually driven down the price of the regular Palkia V and V-Star, making it cheaper to build a Palkia deck. I know people that see Pokemon as an investment probably don't like that, but I'm always in favor of keeping the cost of playing and collecting down, so I'd call that a win in my book. I think basically what they could do is keep these boxes the same, but instead of just a Kyurem V, give us a Kyurem V and a Kyurem V Max. Instead of just a Mew V, give us a Mew V and a Mew V Max. For something like the Hisuian Electrode, just give us 2 of them rather than just giving us 1 of them. Even if it's just the regular versions, I still feel like that would at least be a little bit more likely to be bought by people. And I really feel like, that's just like one simple way that you could just do a little tweak to make these boxes just a little bit better. I don't think it's really good for anybody to have these products that just kind of sit around. But I'd like to know what you think. So kind of tell me down in the comments, what do you think of these V boxes? Do you like them? Do you not like them? And how would you improve them? I'd, again, love to hear what you think. Anyway, if you did like the video, go ahead and give it a like, and be sure to subscribe as well. This video is a little bit different from kind of my typical style, so, in general, those likes and subscribes help the channel grow, but especially here it would help me know, do you like content like this from me? That said, I will see you in the next one.